All right, guys, so it is time to give my ranking of all of the StarCraft 2 units. By the way, if you are watching this on YouTube, please subscribe and follow this channel. We're going to have a lot of StarCraft content on here, and especially Stormgate content when it gets closer to that coming out. So I always find these tier lists to be kind of tough to do, but we're going to see if I can try to map this out. I think the first thing I got to do is go with what I think is by far the best unit in the entire game, the Baneling. Completely changes the whole dynamic on the ground. Definitely, by far, the strongest unit, most impactful unit, I think, in the game. Queen, maybe the most busted thing ever. Larva Inject. It's tanky. It's got Transfuse. It's got insane anti-air. There's really nothing bad about the Queen other than that it was so strong when the game came out, they had to nerf it by making it slow on creep. But the Queen, which was supposed to be sort of this, like, macro unit, and it is a unit that you use for the economy, just turned out to be extremely powerful. Makes it almost impossible to really harass Zerg effectively. Down here with some of the worst units, I got to put the Reaper in the D. We have seen this year some interesting stuff with Reapers, but the Reaper just becomes obsolete very quickly. I think this unit was more interesting early on in StarCraft, but I think they realized pretty quickly that anything that can jump up and down ramps just becomes so strong. So they kept that feature of it moving up and down. But, you know, it has like a role in the game early on. Pretty good Terran versus Terran, I guess, but, you know, not as incredible as some of these other units. It goes to the bottom. Drone, pretty much a bad unit. I think all the workers in this go down pretty low. StarCraft 1, the probe is pretty overpowered. I'll put the probe actually at C for this because it can be used for some cannon rushes and stuff like that. So it has a little bit more utility than a drone that just sort of makes buildings. We'll put the SCV at C. You can do a few more things like proxy stuff with it, but overall weak unit. I guess we can put the Adept. Adept is good. It does have a role early on. It kind of becomes obsolete later, but it's definitely a solid unit. Certainly, everybody had a hard time dealing with it right when the game came out, but I think people have gotten a pretty good handle on this now. Archon probably over here at A. Archons are extremely good in this game. Splash damage in StarCraft 2, way stronger than splash damage in StarCraft 1. But, you know, the fact that, you know, you can use it with shield batteries, you know, basically it's never going to run out of HP if it can regen. You know, it has almost no HP to begin with, but I guess it's never going to run out of... It's never going to have any permanent damage. It's going to make it worse later on because it can always fully heal back up. Really easy unit to micro as well. I feel like we got to put the Marine at A. The Marine is really powerful. Extremely good. Does die immediately to Banelings. Kind of not great by itself, but... You know, it's not as strong as like a Baneling or a Queen, right? Like S is almost where we get to kind of like the almost overpowered stuff. I'm going to put the Overlord over here right at about... I guess a C. I mean, it can become an Overseer. You know, Overlord's not as good in StarCraft 2 as they are in StarCraft 1. They don't start out by being detectors. But, yeah, I mean, it's an okay unit. You know, it's one of these things you got to have. It's not necessarily like a bad unit at all. We're going to put the War Prism here at S. That is absolutely an S-class unit. What you can do with microing it alone would make it an S-class unit, but the fact that you can warp stuff in with it, it's so good. The only way this unit could be better is if there was no animation for when it went into Warp Prism mode. I'm going to take the Swarm Host here, put him right at about a... What do you think? Almost a D, maybe? D-tier unit. Occasionally it comes up in these sort of mech games where they'll go for it, but originally it almost ruined the game in Heart of the Swarm. Let's never forget that. I think it was Blizzard experimenting and trying to figure out if they could do something cool and new with this unit, and then they kind of had to nerf it into the corner. Let's take the Hellion here. I think the Hellion is a straight-up B-tier unit. Kind of like the Adept in some ways. Early on, pretty strong. You know, the longer the game goes on, it does. Kind of like the Adept, it becomes a little bit more obsolete. Doesn't quite have as much as a functional role. Where you look like, you know, for instance, the Marine and the Archon, they're kind of solid through the whole game. Just while I'm looking at it right now, let's put the Marauder over here at A. It's a good unit. It has its role. The fact that it can slow stuff down so that, you know, things can't retreat is incredible. Roach, I'm also going to put at B. If you guys are kind of seeing the direction I'm going in here, obviously it's a critical central unit in the game. Doesn't have as much functionality the further along we get. But again, not a bad unit. It's definitely something you got to rely on as Zerg, especially in certain types of games here. Stalker, I'm going to put this... What is this? This is either a B or an A. Stalker, a most microable unit. Maybe, yeah, A. Blink is really good. It's got its role. We're going to put the Ravager as well up here as about an A unit. Even though Corrosive Bile's not that great in, like, fights, it's pretty good at just, like, decimating buildings. It's a faster, better Roach. I feel like the Immortal is a fair one to put up here in S. This thing is just so good. There's almost no moment where it's really bad in either. Immortal's got to be S. It's like such a good unit. I actually hope there is not a unit like this in Stormgate, by the way. Hellbat, we're going to put this down here at C. It's okay. It has its moments. But yeah, it's not extraordinary. Again, kind of a special unit. It has times in the games where it can be used, but we don't see Hellbats that often. Cyclone, I'm going to put over here at a B. It's so strong at certain moments in the games, but again, a lot of these B-tier units, in my mind, they become more obsolete the further along in the game you are, basically. And I guess we could put the Sentry with that as well. Sentry it's good. I mean, you can use it to scout. Maybe that should be an A. What do you think? Maybe this is A? Force Field's incredible, but it's not a great fighting unit. Guardian Shield's good, I guess. The Mule, I'm kind of stuck on where to put this at exactly. Mule's S, I guess. I don't know if it's as busted as this stuff. I guess it is actually really good. You can just soak up more minerals and everything with it. Doesn't cost any energy. You can use it to repair stuff if you need to. Moving on here. Infestor, I think we got to say this is what? An A tier unit. It's solid. It's not as OP as some of the stuff up here, but it is really good. And I would definitely put the Ghost here as S for sure. I mean, I think that speaks for itself with Snipe and with everything else that the, Ghost can do. Nukes are overrated. I talked about that in one of my other videos, but EMP, and it's just a good unit. Oracle, I think we give the Oracle a solid B. Great for harass, handy unit, not as strong and as versatile as a lot of these other units. Does make the game in general more interesting, getting Oracles out and trying to see what you can do with it. I feel like the Banshee, we put this right at about a B. It does kill workers very fast. It's not exactly a great fighting unit. It sort of does become obsolete in moments of the game. But the Cloak is good. Yeah, I think B is a totally appropriate place to put that. Oracle S tier, great micro potential. Yeah, but I mean, that doesn't mean it's as good as like a Queen or an Immortal, right? Banshee feels more like C. Yeah, I guess it is a little bit worse than these units. Okay, yeah, we'll put it at C. I'll concede that. I feel like the Observer I got to put at C, by the way. I mean, it's great that it can detect and stuff, but Observers are, like, in so many ways the worst units, in both the StarCrafts, but StarCraft 2 as well. Mothership, we will put down an F, or D, I guess. I guess nothing's really an F on this tier list. Mothership, I mean, again, you can have moments where you can use it, but we don't see it very often. Sometimes you can almost forget it's even a unit in the game, to be honest. Viking, I think we put down here in the C tier as well. This is probably one of the least exciting units in the game. This seems like a unit Blizzard was very worried about, like maybe being too strong when it came out, so they made it like very slow on the ground, and the animation where it goes into flying mode is kind of... It's just not a very fast unit. It's got its moments. It's certainly important for controlling the air, but not a massive game changer of a unit. Okay, auto turret. I'm going to put this as a B. Maybe even an A. Yeah, I guess B. It doesn't last that long. It's good. I kind of didn't expect the auto turret to even be in the lineup here when I had this made, but yeah, I guess we can put that as a B. Corruptor is a... Corruptor's a weird unit. I'm torn between B or C here for that unit. B. You guys have convinced me. I think B is fine. It's a very one-dimensional unit. Disruptor, we got to put up here at A. I don't think it's an S tier unit because it is, if it could go back up into War Prism as the Disruptor shot was coming out, it'd be S tier, but it is brittle. But it's definitely a strong unit. Taking the tank here, tank gotta go into S, right? I mean, the fact that you could siege and stay out of range and shell them and force them to fight you, easily one of the best units in the game, for sure. Widowmine I'll put up here in A. Not S tier, but definitely a solid unit. Very strong, very frustrating to fight against. SC2 tank isn't that good. I think that the tank is by far one of the best units in all of StarCraft, man. I mean, I think people just don't... I think people are so used to it having the range that it does and that just being part of the game, but the fact that it's got, like, the best range and can allow Terran to basically push makes it so powerful. You guys don't think tank is S tier? I think it's totally S tier. Every game, the Terran's pushing the Zerg, and they just gotta, you know, draw the Banes in, let the siege tanks blow up the Banes and everything. It's really good. Mutalisk, I'm gonna put. I'm tempted to put S here, but I feel like in StarCraft 2, really, this is more of an A tier unit. Very strong, fast, they heal quick, and I think actually Liberator. I'm thinking either A or B, but probably A. Now, I guess they're a little bit micro-intensive. They're good. I think B. Widowmine's a little bit better and cheaper than a Liberator. Liberator's good, but, you know, it is a hassle. Try to micro around. The Zealot, we're going to put, I guess it's C. I don't know. I guess you have to have Zealots later on. I guess they're B. Yeah, because you have to have them to sponge stuff up, but yeah, I'll put that at B. Again, not a very microable unit. Not as much you can do with it, but it's spongy and it's necessary for Protoss to have in order to stay alive in the game. Actually, tell you what, let's put Overseer at C. Let's put Overlord at D. Overseer is good. It's not amazing, but, you know, it's the detector. It's fast. It's like an observer. The Overlord, yeah, okay. I think that makes more sense. When I put the Overlord at D over here, I was actually, or C, I was actually thinking of it coming in Overseer, but now that I see that we have a unit for that, it's totally different. Changeling is just a D tier unit. It's annoying if they start to make a lot of them, but I think at high play, which is, you know, what we're talking about here, competitive play, I think that's where you gotta have him go. I think the Viper, we gotta put up here. Up here at S. Yeah, I mean, the Viper is just so good. It's so powerful. It can totally change a battle. Easily an S tier unit. I'm very happy with my S list up here. Broodlord I've been kind of avoiding while we're doing this. I feel like that's actually, you know, at times Broodlords look really scary, but I feel like a lot of times it's sort of like a B tier unit. Even though you look at it, I mean, it seems like it's so powerful. It can create units and have fights. You need a couple of them. They're not fast. A lot of games people get Broodlords and the other player just comes and attacks somewhere else where they're not at. On to the Lurker. I think this has to be an S, right? The Lurker is just such a busted unit. You need detection to take it on. You can upgrade it so that it burrows really fast. Medevac, by the way, we're going to put this up here at A. You think S? I'm thinking A. Well, I guess, I mean, with the boost and everything, yeah, I think S, actually. You're right. Ultralisks, I'm going to put them over here into the B tier again. Not that fast, easily sniped by ghosts. It's a tough one to make, by the way. Over to the Phoenix, I think we got to put this around C tier. It's definitely good. It's like a lot of these other units where it has certain moments where it's very functional. I'm tempted to put it into B, but I do feel like some of these other units are a little bit better than the Phoenix when I look at it and play more of a role in the game. And I feel like C kind of fits nicely in there. Void Ray, I mean, we have some cheeses with it, but this is really kind of a D tier unit. I mean, it's definitely, like, you know, kind of like we've seen with Swarm Hosts and some of these other units down here, the Reaper. It has these really special moments in the game, but it's not a core unit. You can have a whole day of, like, a GSL and not see a Void Ray, right? Yeah, Void Ray used to be good, then they nerfed it down. DTs I'm going to put in the B tier here as well. They're extremely good. Blink has made them very exciting, but, again, not a core central unit that you have to rely on for the whole game. It does have its moments, though, for sure. Not as good as a StarCraft 1 DT, though, I would say. And I'm curious where you guys are going to... Your take on me putting this unit in the list. I think we're going to have this at A. The Battlecruiser. I mean, the fact that this thing can warp, that it can kill so much stuff, that it can be repaired so easily, it's just extremely powerful and extremely handy. I mean, especially when we started being able to warp with it. It was just very good. By the way, Tempest over here, I think I'm going to put that at C. Again, another... It's a good unit. It has its moments. We saw more of the Tempest in 2021 and 2020, but it just seems it's a slow unit. It's got great range. It doesn't quite have the kind of power that a siege tank has. I'm almost tempted to put it into D, to be honest. Over here to the Raven, man. I think Raven we got to put into A. I mean, this is just such a core central unit, and there's so much you can do with it. Zergling, I feel like it's a B tier unit. I think it's... You guys think A? I'm feeling more B, man. It's essential, but, you know, it's kind of like the filler for everything else that you have. Colossus, I'm looking at this guy, and I'm thinking maybe A or B. Yeah, I think the Colossus at A is totally fine. carrier, I'm tempted to put this just at B here. It's a good unit. It's got its moments. And look, the units in B are good. Don't get me wrong. But I mean, when you compare like a carrier to like a queen or a, you know, a ghost or something, I think B is fine for that. I think I have to put this in B because we have the Tempest down here in C and the Void Ray at D. I think you can tier them like that. The Hydralisk, I'm going to put this, I was thinking about A. Maybe A. I think it's so slow off creep, but its damage is so high. No, I can't put this in the same tier as, like, the Marine and the Marauder and, yeah, and Archon. No, it has to be B. It has to be B. This is the Broodling. I don't even know where to put things like the Broodling or the Locust. I mean, I guess we put them at, like, D, both of these units. Like, whatever. Templars, I think we got to put up here in A, even though they're weak and they die easily. I mean, Storm is so devastating. Feedback is so good. But again, it's not busted like everything up here at the top. And then the Thor, I feel like the Thor is a B-tier unit. It's very good. It's got its moments for sure. You know, its anti-air is great. It's tanky. It can be repaired. I think it was a little bit better in the earlier days, you know, over the last 12 years of StarCraft. This is it. We've done it. My tier list is I've attempted to rank every unit. By the way, if you're watching this, I want to say thank you so much. I hope you subscribe to the channel. Check out tastelessthreads.com to see our awesome merch and expect more content on this channel in the future. So I hope you stick with me. See you in the next video.